And we're live. It's still going. Episode number 4 of the Dadcast. You're very welcome along to what it says here is easily the most relatable podcast on the internet. I don't know who you are at Mr. Brian Bennett, but Jesus Christ. What?
There's our tagline right there.
Oh, when we write our first book, that's going on the cover.
You chumps. The most relatable chumps on the internet.
Wow. Is that a compliment?
I think it is, yeah. I mean, mostly it's been about our mishaps, misadventures, how difficult this has been.
I wonder what the question I had was what the relatability aspect of it was, because it's been pretty broad spectrum, isn't it?
How to fail at parenting.
Yeah.
There are a lot of bad
deep
parents
sadness that we all go through.
and a lot of chumps out there, so we are easily relatable.
That's fair.
And Nathan sent us the charts from the first episode. We made it to number 14. We were one ahead of Pretty Big Deal with Ashley Graham. Nathan's tagline was, I don't know Ashley Graham, but she's not that big of a deal.
Boom.
Anyway, I presume she's very good, and we just are like, she's a millennial, we're not, and that's why we don't understand it. You're a millennial.
I am.
Yeah?
What's a millennial?
You're young enough to be a millennial, aren't you?
Am I?
Born in the 90s?
What? I was born in 90. Thank you. I was born in 1981.
All right, okay, you're definitely not. You just seemed young.
It's the beard. It's the beard and the soy lattes.
Yeah.
Some of the response we've had has been particularly interesting. There's loads of good suggestions coming through from people about what we should be talking about. Bringing kids to social occasions was one. Picky eaters was another. The military precision of school mornings and getting everybody out the door and all that kind of stuff. So we'll get to some of that a little bit later on. But here's the email address. And we've had our first email, which I'll get to a little bit later on. But in the meantime...
How can you even read it under your croissant?
Well, no one knows there's a croissant because this is a podcast. So the current president, I don't know what date this has gone out.
I think you can probably still say the current president.
The current and more than likely future president was in today. So there were nice croissants. As opposed to the shit ones that the rest of the candidates got. Ooh. So I was like, I'm going to nick one of those in the office today.
Looks tasty.
There's none left, Tommy. He's wondering, is there any left? There's a little bit left, which I'm going to mute my mic while you guys are telling stories.
See, this is why this podcast is so relatable. It's, you know what I mean? Crowd the president's croissants.
I have found over the last couple of years that it's been impossible for me to learn not to eat my own dinner. And as a result, I've ended up eating 3.5 dinners most nights and have ballooned in weight to being a complete fat bastard since I had my children. I'm 100%
learn not to eat your own dinner, as in don't fix one at all.
Last week was the first time it dawned on me, don't have a dinner, you'll actually get enough food off 3 kids' plates. Now, this week I've been forgetting it, but I am 100% blaming them. And when they listen to this in future, I don't care, it's entirely your fault. Eat your fucking dinners.
Yeah, no, you're dead right.
There's half a pork chop left. There's like a meatball here. I'm like,
I had 3 bowls of chili the other day.
Yeah. I've done that. I made a giant thing of bolognese the other day, and for some reason I put it in like a proper serving dish so that my children could serve themselves.
Yeah.
But they both decided that they didn't like bolognese, which meant I just had to eat the entire bloody thing.
I know. And you did.
I did.
Yeah, I know. It's like that was every fucking night. It's very traumatic. I don't
We're only
know what
getting
to do
into that
about
territory now where because myself and my wife had a standoff, I would say, the other day, where I was taking the stance, well, no, I cooked this vat of chili being an inaccurate description of it because it was, I knew I was serving it to the 2 lads. I didn't put chili in it. So it was basically chili-less chili. Yeah. And I said, no, I spent the last hour putting this together. It's been simmering nicely on the hob for the last couple of hours. If they don't want to eat it, they just don't get dinner today. And they can go to bed hungry if they want. But they're only 1 and 4. I'm not sure we should be kind of going down that road just yet.
I agree with you. When are you going to train them?
I was unwilling to budge. They have to start eating what we eat.
Yes.
I definitely adopt the airline sort of tend to yourself before seeing the kids approach when it comes to dinner.
But do they not get hangry?
Is he eating dinner?
The difficulty is, so let's say, the thing is, he will have had his dinner at, let's say, 6 o'clock. And by the time I come home, I might be having dinner at 8, could be later.
All right.
But at that point, so if he hasn't gone to bed at that point, he's over shouting at my plate. It'd be stuff generally that he can't eat. More.
Why can he not eat it? Is he allergic to stuff?
Yeah. We're finding more and more that he can eat stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
And we've been unbelievably disciplined with him in a way that we are absolutely not with ourselves in terms of what he should and shouldn't eat. Like his diet is like it's everything. I think it's sort of how you should eat as a human being. It'll stop at some point.
Why? What do you mean?
Like, it's all sort of freshly cooked, good vegetables,
From zero.
good meat, fish. Like, it is a quality diet. Like, I really.
Do you not just eat the same thing as him then?
No, because like I'm saying, like he's eating at sort of 6 o'clock, and
Who's
we're
making
at
his
home
dinner,
at 8
though?
o'clock. The childminder.
And
she's also a vegan who cooks a lot of vegan food. Now she will cook meat and stuff for him, but
Nice.
it means that the ingredients are excellent, and that's not a bad point, Nathan. Actually, yeah, she should maybe cook our
Maybe
dinner
just
as
cook
well.
more.
She can just
you could
pick
have
up
the
your
leftovers.
Macari's for you on the way home.
Well, that's the point, Dave. Yeah. So if we're sitting there eating the old burger and chips, and your man's like, more, we're like, no, dude, you're not having any of this.
And does he eat chocolate?
No,
Does he eat
because
any
there's
sweet stuff?
milk in it.
But does he eat any? Do you allow him have anything sugary?
Yeah, you'll have a digestive biscuit. We started giving him pancakes.
You're really pushing the boat.
Yeah.
Don't go overboard.
It was his birthday.
Remember I was talking about the milk ladder the other week?
Oh, I was
So
gonna
the
forget.
latest step is Scotch pancakes. So he doesn't like them, right? But he knows there's some sugar in them. So he's like, he literally will make this, like, this is yucky face while putting it into his mouth and going, oh, this is not great, but oh, give me that sugar.
I sympathise. I understand that.
But if chocolate didn't exist, you'd get way less shit done. I mean, if there is no greater bribery product than chocolate in this world. I find if something needs to be done, you just put it out there that there's the potential for a chocolate treat at the end of it, like dogs. And sure enough, whatever needs to be done will be done.
That every day.
What do you mean every day? Every hour or something?
And is it one sweeter or what is it?
Oh, it's like a tiny trinket. And they know that might be doubled up upon in 3 or 4 hours if they're good in that time. This generally happens when I have them on my own for the day,
I'm going to say.
which was yesterday. And in fairness to them, you bring them shopping, they don't kick up a stink. Got them to get their hair cut, which is another story. They didn't kick up a stink, so I said, go on, we'll give them something when they get home. And then I said, your mother's home at 7. If there's no rows between now and 7, I'll double up on that. And I was true to my word.
Do you do a lot of that stuff where you would do things like that your wife wouldn't do, or you wouldn't do with the child if she was around, in terms of like that incentivizing, like giving them chocolate?
All the time. I don't believe in this. Let's make sure we're on the same page bullshit.
Let's make sure we're...
I'll look after mine.
Yeah. I do that with, so for bedtime routine, wherever there's like brush your teeth, which with him at the minute is you give him the toothbrush with the toothpaste on it. He sucks the toothpaste off because it's tasty.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to do any of the brushing or have any interest in it. I just skip it when she's not around.
Did you ever accidentally use their toothpaste? It tasted like chewing gum. So it's like, it feels sugary. It's like this kind of, The toothpaste companies are giving them the taste of like the worst sweets possible so that they'll get those. And then they'll be having to brush their teeth all their lives. It's like this kind of weird...
Could you
that's
put
my
some shit
conspiracy
on
theory.
it to take the chewing gumness off it?
I just have to get different ones.
It's all it's a tokenistic gesture anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, also
Yeah,
It's a routine.
It's a routine, yeah.
So it doesn't really matter what they're doing. Like it's.
Although I have heard of people whose kids' teeth are so bad that they have to get them extracted.
But they're all falling out though, anyway, aren't they?
At what age?
Oh, before they're due to fall out. Like,
So when they're 4.
yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah. And so they don't all fall out. Like,
How much sweet stuff do you have to be eating? I think is it just obviously every kid's teeth are different, and some kids' teeth rot easier.
I don't know what the story is. I don't know what the story is. Like giving bottles last thing at night, like we're having terrible trouble getting one of them off a bottle at the moment. She's like, oh yeah, I'm definitely not taking a bottle tonight. And it's like, give me a bottle. Give me a fucking bottle. Like proper heroin.
But you have to just get through that battle. We went through that exact battle 3 or 4 months ago. Night 1 was a 2-hour meltdown from 10 to 12, or maybe 9 to 11 going to bed.
Is your 1-year-old though?
No.
All right.
No, the other dude. And then there would traditionally have been a wake-up call in the middle of the night for a bottle, so that had to be abandoned as well. So that was maybe 2 to 4. Next morning it was 3 to 4. Next morning it was half an hour. Within a week it was gone. And then after about 10 days it wasn't even being requested. You just have to see it out. It's toughy, but you have to see it out.
Yeah.
Man up here.
Yeah, and then
That's good advice, isn't it?
There's a room sharing issue, and then the other one who like the noise levels would be big enough that the whole
Wake
house.
everybody else up.
Yeah.
Well, this is a piece of advice I'd have to parents of maybe any kids from 3 to 5 that are trying to break some habits. Do you remember that shocking email that was sent by the Labour Party on the morning of 9/11? Like, this is a tragedy that's unfolding. We need to get all of our bad news out today. Do you remember several people lost their jobs over it? Well, we had an issue over some behavioural issues about a couple of months ago, and we were thinking all the stuff that soothes this person is not working. So if we're going to have to deal with all the shit anyway, we might as well fling all this fuel on top of it. And so eventually when we sail out the other side, we'll have got rid of these couple of things. And it was the best thing we ever did.
So you had like a week of horror.
Absolute, total hell. And
you were fixing...
But getting rid of the bottle and the soother actually helped solve the problem that was causing the misbehaviour in the first place.
God, I can't imagine getting rid of the soother. Oof.
Yeah, but what age is it?
Marley Park and put it in
What
a
age is it?
fairy
20
tree.
months.
Okay, we're with this is with a 3-year-old, and it's the best thing we ever did. So if there's any parents out there looking at their kids going to bed at night with a soother and with a bottle, thinking they're too old for that, it's probably going to damage their teeth, damage their smile, whatever soothers do, and whatever the bottle does to your teeth just before you go to sleep, just pull the plug. It's like a massive plaster, and there will be plenty of bleeding after you rip the plaster off. It should be grand after about a week.
Four plugs to pull. He takes 4 soothers to bed.
What?
He has one in his mouth, one in each hand, and then one for the teddy bear. So it's... and sometimes he'll wake up and he'll have flung them on the ground by accident in his sleep, and there is mad panic.
Is there? Yeah, that's like I've lost this thing that I really need.
Go.
I presume you're past the stage now of then, when they're on the ground, of actually sterilising them or anything. You just throw them back in and go, you're on your own, pal.
Have it, buddy. Well, again, that's one that I would say, it's all yours, buddy, whereas my wife would be like, nah.
Well, I just sterilise them in your own mouth.
I think they, haven't they discovered recently that
sometimes it might be nice.
There's more
wine
bacteria
off
in
it
your
that will
mouth
help them sleep
than there would have been on the floor.
Yeah, I'm not saying this was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's what was done.
Yeah.
Anthony McCormick was in touch. Is episode 3 up yet? No, you'll be getting this in episode 4, so don't worry about that. Picky eaters will be one I'd suggest. Really enjoyed the first 2 episodes. So what do you do when they don't eat the chili? Did you give in and give them like other stuff, cook something else?
I didn't give in.
Did somebody in your house give in?
Are you saying you weren't on the same page, Dave?
And that was fine.
I left the scene.
Did you storm out?
Yes.
Storming out would be too strong a way to put it, but on the picky eating, it does wreck my head that one day they can be a huge fan of something and the next day they were never a fan of this.
Same meal the next day.
I don't understand it. I don't like spaghetti bolognese, but you ate a massive bowl on it every night when we were on our holidays last week. Yeah, but I don't like it.
They cook it better.
Explain why. I just don't like it. Okay, well then you're not getting anything else to eat for the rest of the day. Okay, doesn't bother them then.
15 minutes later.
So okay. What do you mean okay?
As in, like, don't bother feeding me then.
And at what point does that, like, so you left the scene of the crime, and I'm assuming that what you're saying is your wife gave him something else?
I don't know exactly what transpired after that, but I was just fed up.
But when I went in, that bowl of chili was gone.
I do remember, though, half an hour later eating the bowl of chili for both of them. But they'll generally eat anything at the very start, won't they? Like, they'll eat broccoli and they'll eat fruit and they'll eat strawberries. Like, the first fella used to be mad into strawberries. They'll demolish bananas, and then someday just go, I don't like bananas, for no reason. And you just have to roll with the punches. Picky eating is something that's going to wreck your head, but there's probably no need to allow yourself have your head wrecked by it, because it's an uncontrollable.
Our first child ate everything, literally everything. We were on holidays one time in Spain, and I'd had fish, and I was like, oh, I wonder will she eat this fish eyeball? And I gave it to her, and she ate it straight up. Didn't even chewed away in the fish eyeball. And it's like this moment in our family where we're like, wow, this child is amazing. She will literally try anything. The rest of them won't eat anything, won't try fish, won't look at it. Like that. Like cooked a ham, day 1, everybody had all around them. Day 2, I don't like this. Like, you got your body weight in this.
And when you've made it yourself, like, we would get a lot of these organic, beef stews or spag balls that you get in the supermarkets, and like they're great if for convenience, or if you're out at your parents' house or whatever, stick them in the microwave. They'll generally eat them, but if you've made it yourself and they turn their nose up it's just so annoying. It's like, just wasted the last 2 hours making this for you. Fucking eat it.
I find the key is to just cover everything in breadcrumbs and call it a goujon. And then they'll just eat anything.
Here's spag ball goujon.
It's a goujon. It's a goujon. What's that? It's fish. No, it's a goujon. It's a fish goujon. It's a fish finger. All right, grand, I'll eat that then.
Right.
That's just the key to everything.
Oh yeah, if no such thing as waffles and fish fingers, there would be people starving in our house.
So just because your kids are all older than mine, so what happens with that scenario? Is there a point of, Like in day 3, are they back into the ham? I love ham. Give me ham.
It's there's
Sporadic,
no.
you just don't know.
Yeah, it is random. It is precisely the thing. It is completely random.
So can I ask, what do you do in day 2 when they're saying, I don't want ham? So on Dave's point, are you saying, listen, it's ham or nothing?
You hope that they eat enough. Like the youngest will actually eat his food cold and congealed 4 hours later and be like, oh, this is really nice. I should have eaten this first time. And like that's the case with everything.
So do you start? But I'm saying, like, I'm wondering, do you start to offer other things, or do you just say, listen, this is it. We're all in here.
No, there's definitely and you are 3 turning 4. You are going to eat the food. We know you like it.
I'm happy enough for them to go to bed hungry if they don't want to eat the dinner.
And
Have you sent them to bed hungry?
Well, in my mind, they had to have been hungry because they hadn't eaten, but they weren't showing any signs of distress or they weren't hangry in any way.
Right.
So they eat when they want to eat, and if they don't want to eat what you put in front of them, I'm not going to give them something else. But generally, they seem absolutely fine with that.
Yeah. Well, you've left the scene of the crime anyway. So, I don't know.
Somebody else's problem.
Brown bread and bananas and a bit of fruit and maybe waffle with some broccoli solves an awful lot of problems.
There have been days though where we've had 4 separate meals where somebody gets eggs, somebody else gets something else, and it's like eggs are a miracle food if they'll eat them, and you have to force your child to like eggs because if they don't,
No, ours won't eat eggs. Disaster.
even like here, look at loads of ketchup. I mean, first
What
child.
about egg goujons?
Wrap it up in a bit of bread. That is the only. It's literally with our middle lad is just put ketchup on anything and he will eat it.
Right.
Yeah.
As long as I can dip it in.
First child was like strict no ketchup rule. In other people's houses, it got to the point of like, what your family are obviously satanic. They're giving my child ketchup. Why are they doing this? A few issues. And second child was like, won't eat anything without ketchup. I'm like, give her the fucking ketchup. I'm broken here.
Because ketchup is supposedly one of the worst, isn't it?
Well, now you can get the low sugar.
Can you?
It says low sugar on it,
But it's
and
in
I
like-
believe those guys.
It's in one shop.
wouldn't
And then
lie
you
to
go
me.
looking for it the next time. It's like, oh, mysteriously, they're out of the low sugar shit that like got my child hooked in the first place.
Yeah, same with the baked beans. There's low sugar baked beans, and they're not always there.
They really are almost never there, in fairness. It's almost like
It's quite annoying. I'm one of those
the bait and switch.
supermarket aisle Nazis where like the 2 lads are with me and they're saying, can we go? You said we could get a Kinder Egg if we were really good. We've been here for an hour and I'm there looking at the ingredients. Single thing. Like if you're like a lot, as I've already mentioned waffles twice, they eat a lot of waffles in our house. If you were to pick the worst nutritional value-wise waffle in the aisle and compare it to the least,
It's basically deep fried tampon.
it's unbelievable the difference between them. So you can get
Potato
like a
waffles.
waffle you can get a waffle that tastes perfectly fine, that has pretty much no saturated fat, no sugar and no salt in it. And then a yard to its right, you've got something you wouldn't feed your dog.
Right.
And often the nutritious one is cheaper. So it's well worth spending a little bit of time looking at the
So there are waffles
little
that are
panel in
not
the window.
bad for you.
Yeah,
that are just pure potato.
pretty much, yeah.
mean,
like
if-
you know something's good or bad if there's no saturated fat, no salt, no sugar.
Well, so we
Fish fingers the same.
ran the shop the other
One
day.
make, and we'll look at the other make, vastly differentials.
Auntie Bessie's parsnips. I was looking at these going, these are a bit suspicious. The kids all ate them like they were chips. I did not look at what was in them though, because you put them in like, oh, did you deep fry those in oil? I was like, no, straight out dry from the packet. All the oil came off them. And they literally fried gold in their own shit that they were. But I'm like, everybody ate them and they're eating parsnips as far as I'm concerned. Might be 0.000% parsnip.
I know you need to worry about what you're feeding your kids. They have to get enough nutrition. But if they're out there and they're active and they're pegging around the gaff and they're doing this, that and the other, and you're sending them to GA training and dance training or whatever else training you're sending them to, like, you know, our parents would like to think that they fed us brilliantly as children. But yes,
Jesus.
they did. At the same time, there was a lot of bars of chocolate and there was a lot of white bread and there was a lot of chips and there was a lot of
Less
fish
processed
I
fingers.
used to
shit
think
than
like
we
a white
have.
bread sandwich was actually quite good for you, up to a point.
Oh, yeah.
And also in reflection, like the way that, I mean, I love my mother and she's a great cook. But I have said this to her face, so I'm absolutely fine saying it here. Like, she would literally put the cabbage on a Monday and eat it on a Wednesday. It's like, come on, there's literally nothing left worth eating here.
But if they're out and active, like it does make a whole pile of difference. to
It's
be
true.
honest.
It's that's not going to be the shit that kills our children. It's going to be the fact that the planet is burning up in about the next 5 minutes. So,
Yeah, we need to worry about climate change. Eat all the burgers and chips you want.
People don't. Can I just make? If people don't take anything else from today's podcast, or take any sort of solace about being a parent, or any advice about being a dad, or any of that stuff, search for good waffles. is.
Well, I just thought Dave was looking forward to episode 18, where he'll be sitting in the corner with a pack of waffles that he's got paid $3,000 to promote. These are the best waffles. Don't mind the saturated fats; they're actually good for you.
And the
Fish
best is
fingers as
waffles.
well. I wouldn't go so far as to say they're really good for you, but they're not going to do any harm. Definitely look at the nutritional values.
What are you looking for? The percentage
Fish
fish
fingers
or
as well.
the shit
No,
that's in
salt, saturated fats, and sugar.
it? Okay.
Like an awful lot of, for example, our lads became addicted to rice cakes, chocolate covered rice cakes.
Oh, well,
and they would eat a pack a day if you gave us them.
Well, of course you would.
We were thinking like, oh, rice cakes. I mean, it's only a rice cake. How bad can it be? So one day, again, the two lads were there with me, not impressed with the amount of time we're spending in this one aisle, but they weren't actually allowed to eat anything. I compared the rice cakes, the chocolate covered rice cakes, to your regular biscuit, your chocolate covered digestive, your fig roll, whatever else might be in that aisle. They were as bad, if not worse, than everything in that aisle.
In terms of salt and sugar.
Salt and sugar and saturated fats. Picked up Jaffa cakes. Virtually nothing in Jaffa cakes. Started getting them. Tuck crackers.
Are Jaffa cakes not full of sugar for energy?
No, they're not.
I don't know why people eat Jaffa cakes.
Yeah, but it's not actual processed sugar that you're going to get in say, a chocolate covered rice cake, which
Jesus,
is apart
how
from
long does it
chocolate.
take you to
I was just going to say, if there's one thing we've learned from today's show, it's that don't go to the shops with Dave.
Wow.
Bloody
If-
hell.
if you- but you only
3
do it
hours
once.
later.
Tuck crackers. Pretty much nothing in tuck crackers. Like 1% salt, sugar, saturated fat.
They're good for you? Well, I mean...
Again, let's not use the phrase good for you.
But not as bad
Way
as-
less bad for you than some of the stuff that you actually think might be reasonably healthy.
Tuck goujons and so.
No, they'll eat their tuck crackers.
well,
That's their
demolish
go-to
them.
when they won't eat their dinner at 5 minutes before they're going to bed. I want 4 tuck crackers, that'll be fine.
Who does the shopping? You do the shopping in your house,
Generally I
obviously.
do, yeah, but obviously I go in armed with a list.
Who do you...
Mix both
predominantly...
individually. Both predominantly, I'd say, together.
I do the shopping where possible.
I do the shopping all the time. We were at an event recently where we were told, the women do the shopping. That's just the way it is in life. That's why all
So
the
in
marketing
terms of,
is aimed at the women. I was like, is that true? Not in my house.
No.
And then I've lost every male over a certain age recently, and it's like, because we all know this. Well, you bring your children
Yeah,
every time.
pretty much, yeah. Any time it's the full shop, yeah. But again, I mentioned the Bribery value in chocolate. It's incredible. They know that if they're good for that hour, there's a Kinder Egg at the end of it for them.
I get to go shopping on my own.
So do I.
Oh, well, now that's a pleasure, right?
I'm like,
That's why every...
This is the secret, though. It's like, my wife's not a big fan of shopping. I'm like, I love shopping. I stick the Sunday morning NFL podcast in. Thanks very much.
And that's why it takes 3 hours to get around.
Well, I don't get it.
I had to go to multiple shops. And actually, we do because everybody's so picky about
I'm
stuff.
almost concerned of seeming too excited about going shopping.
I know,
It's
it's like-
top on. So there'll be a big list, and I'll be like, "Do you want to go shopping?" Like, "Oh, no. If you want to go. I'm fine. If you don't want to go, I'll go and do this."
I might do the recycling while I'm out there.
and I might just go to
Is
the
it not a good time
bottle
killer
bag.
though when you've got I say all, whether it's 3 or 2 in my case, that you have them for the day to yourself.
Oh, when you're going to be... Well, that's
So like a
different.
15-minute drive to the shops, spend at least an hour in there, and a 15-minute drive
can't
home. You've just
bring-
taken 90 minutes off the clock.
You cannot bring 3 kids shopping on your
Not
own.
3.
You
And
just can't.
They have to be small enough to fit in the trolley as well.
Only one of them, yeah.
Because I stick the bigger guy into the driver's seat, which we call it at the front. He knows he
That's a
loses
good idea.
Kinder Egg if he steps outside the driver's seat.
It's all the marketing, the driver's seat.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
And then the other guy gets to sit in the actual seat in front of me, and I'll just like...
There's no seat in the front. How do you make that work?
I mean, what's
do
the
you mean?
difference between the driver's seat
Oh,
and
the separated compartment at the front of the trolley.
Yeah, where the baby
so
sits.
first thing you get is like the 6 litres of water. So you just place that in behind the separator, and that's a seat.
Yeah.
So you go straight to the water aisle first.
Co-pilot.
No, he thinks he's driving the whole thing. So then you just keep saying, okay, where do we have to go next? Oh, we have to go this way. So, let them think they're running the show.
Can I just... Yeah, so
I'm
it's just...
split between whether Dave's shopping habits are incredibly interesting or the most boring half an hour of radio all night.
Oh, I think
Can I...
The fact that you haven't made your mind up yet is a win for me.
So dadcast@offthewall.com, if you are a dad who does the shopping, I just want to, it's a little survey I'm doing out there. This is your only thing we're asking for you for listening to this stuff, for being the most relatable podcast on the internet. Email us and just tell us that you do the shopping, because I just want to build up a little...
Do you go rogue when you go shopping? Do you come back with 20 things that you may not need? Do you just buy whatever you feel like?
If there's something on 49-cent special, I'm like, ooh, I think I definitely need some of these mangoes that look a little bit off.
Yeah. I stick to the list.
Oh, do you?
To a rule, except if there's 49-cent mangoes and we suddenly need 8 of them.
Yeah. Like, it depends, right? So the weeks when we've menu planned and everything is good in our lives and we're like on top of shit.
Sorry, you plan a menu for an entire week?
About 3 or 4 times a year we do, Dave.
Right.
The rest of the year we kill ourselves for not doing it because our fridge is full of shit. It's just and it's rotting, going off, polluting all the rest of the contents of the freezer or fridge, and you're like, my life is a mess. I look at my fridge.
Look at these mangoes.
Haunting me.
Look at these lovely mangoes. They're rotten.
Who would have thought they would have been eaten?
What do you even do with a mango?
So we all probably have 2 meals a day in work, right? Certainly. So I'm in for breakfast and lunch, and I'm trying to bring breakfast and lunch, and it gets very boring after a while. Like, so you've got to shop properly, and you've got to menu plan
But you don't.
No. Thanks, Dave. One of the things we said we wouldn't do in this podcast was remind ourselves how bad we are at stuff. But here's our first email from Aaron McCallum. Dear Dadcast, I became a dad on the 22nd of December 2017. Tig was born by way of emergency C-section. All turned out hunky-dory though with mama and baby. The week Tig was born, I played an open on Corbelis Links and shot 40 points off a 10 handicap. Corbelis is beautiful, by the way. If you haven't played it, it's absolutely amazing. It's got 6 of the best links holes on the East Coast. The rest of it's a bit meh, but it's a public course and anybody can go and it's really cheap.
And that's a phenomenal score, by the way, for anybody who's...
Sensational. If the wind blows at all.
Sounds like a bandit to me.
Drove it like Brooks Koepka, ironed like Molinari and putted like vintage Tiger. I was loose and relaxed, not a care in the world. By midsummer 2018, I'd have expected to be playing off maybe 8 and flushing everything. However, broken sleep, night feeds, baby-proofing the house have me wound up like a stressed-out chimpanzee. My golf game has collapsed. If I'm not thinning it, I'm hitting it so fat you could resod a modest garden with my divots. My draw is now a hook and I putt like a drunk Stevie Wonder swinging a hammer. I questioned myself and analysed everything about my game. I turned to YouTube for lessons, tips, advice, and all I found was 2 men in tight blue Adidas trousers talking gick about me and my golf game. Fuck you, Andy, with your Instagram and rock hard biceps. Anyway, I'm rambling. The question is having a new chiseler worthy or deserving of having a few shots added to your handicap? Or is there any yes from me? Yours sincerely, Aaron McCallum.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. First thing that springs to mind is poor Tig. Obviously thinking, where is my deadbeat absentee father? Because it says to me, like, this dude is spending an awful lot of time analysing his errant golf game, wondering why he's not hitting the right shots in the way that he used to be able to. And if he'd spent a bit more time with his son...
Can you not do that over the shoulder? We've all watched games over the shoulder of our children while we're like, shh.
He should be relishing the fact that he's able to continue playing golf.
I'm incredibly impressed with any father of a child under the age of 5 who plays golf even once a week. And I know people who are playing golf 3 times a week.
Do you? Who have kids?
Yeah.
Oh my
It's
God.
just like part of their...
How does that happen?
Grown
up kids?
No, who have young kids. Because they just have their routine. They have their... I go out and play golf in the evening. I play golf on a Saturday.
That's
just
their
what I
routine.
do.
Because the great question about that...
I suggested that. I play golf on a Monday. It's just what I do. And I was probably
You're
told...
never going to get away with that. They're obviously... I'm going to stop myself before I say something that lands me in an awful lot of trouble.
Go on.
They must have very understanding partners that allow them just to, like, saunter out the door with 1 or multiple kids in the house and play golf whenever they want.
Isn't that the whole point of the email? Not really about the handicap, about actually trying to make time for yourself as a parent.
There's no chance.
Like
It's over.
Dad.
He's going to be an 18 handicap.
But he's still playing. He's playing enough to know that his game is gone. He's got enough time to be looking at YouTube and trying to figure out where his game has gone to.
I have a lot of sympathy with YouTube. I'd say he's just not playing enough.
I think what he's looking for is us to start a campaign with the GUI.
Yes.
The second you have a child, you get 4 shots added to your handicap.
Yeah. I think it's fair enough.
But that's, I mean, I actually take the point to be nothing to do with the handicap. It's to do with he wants to play more golf.
I got the impression he's playing as much golf as he wants.
Like a one handicap would be no use to him if he can't get to play any golf.
Yeah.
Well, he'd never get to one if he wasn't playing.
Yeah, but
the only reason he knows his handicap has gone up a few shots is because he's playing enough golf for it to slump in that direction.
But the GUI can give him whatever handicap. We can start the campaign right here and now, Nathan, if you're up for it. But
he doesn't want to be going up. He wants to go down.
What I'm saying is,
off single digits.
The point being that he needs to get out and play golf.
So what have you given up, Adrian?
Either way.
What have you given up since your child arrived?
Life. Like, do you give up sort of any... You give up all of that stuff. Like, there's no...
Your
no
independence
longer...
is gone.
Yeah.
And this guy's independence doesn't seem to have gone at all.
You're very angry towards them.
I think he's trying to make 1 point, but he doesn't realise how good he has it.
I'm with Dave.
All right, okay.
He's put himself in the firing line.
We do want people to write into us.
But prepared to be judged.
Dadcast at offtheball.com. No judgments. This is a judge-free zone. People. Colin Dwyer wants to know to pause a match while trying to get them asleep or just get the updates on your phone. Depends on the quality of the game. If it's a super big game and you're not addicted to social media, which basically means you can pause it, so you're not going to find out. But if you're completely addicted to social media and it's a mediocre game,
it also depends on
no pausing.
How long is it going to take you to get the child to sleep question.
Yeah.
I might get this done in 10 minutes, pause the game.
Especially in the first half, knowing that half time is going to last 15 minutes, so you'll be able to catch up and get the second half live. As you say, if the bedtime process is 20 minutes plus, you've got to rethink it.
You've got to pause it always, is the actual answer. And then you get to decide. If you haven't paused it, you can't go back.
And the difficulty is you've actually put the child to bed, so you want to enjoy the full experience of watching the game, which is watching it and doing a bit of second screening. But you can't do any second screening if you're on delay.
What's an acceptable amount of football to watch every week?
Definitely not the amount you watch.
You use your monthly limit on a Sunday.
I remember coming in one Saturday afternoon, a rarity, I know. I was doing the show with Nathan, and he says, geez, did you see Fulham Newcastle last night? In my head I'm going, Fulham Newcastle, I'm pretty sure neither of those teams are in the Premier League. Obviously this wasn't this season, this is a couple of seasons ago. So he's at home on a Friday night watching Championship football. Who the fuck does that? That was
I think my wife was out.
Think of. Like, what were you doing? How? I don't get to watch any football, mainly because I'm usually at a game, or B, it's very hard to come home from work and say, by the way, I'm going to sit down in front of the 42-inch and watch a random Champions League game, because that's what I want to do.
I've completely sacrificed the 5:30 game on a Saturday.
Nathan, you're a martyr.
Like, obviously I see the first half an hour while I'm at work, but after that...
My perception of you, and feel free to shoot this down, is that you have it pretty good.
Well, sure, everyone thinks everyone else has it pretty good.
On the email, your capacity to indulge your own thirst for whatever that might be.
What do you mean?
I think you have... it's only a perception. It may be utterly untrue, but I absolutely have a perception that you're ploughing your own furrow at the same time.
There's a barb here. There's a needle.
There's no barb.
Hang on a second there. I was checking the tweets.
I just think that you...
In that I come
You're
to work.
a bad husband and father.
That is the nub of the matter here.
No, that's not what I'm saying. It seems to me, and I'm saying to you, shoot me down if this is inaccurate, that you definitely get to do things on your own. Like, there's enough good stuff in your... you carve out enough good stuff in your life. Still.
I try my best, but I'm still not sure what you're getting at. What am I doing that, aside from literally coming to work?
Watching a good bit of...
I played golf once, I'd say, in the last 6 months.
Yeah.
So...
I mean, it's just a perception. I'm not saying it's, you know...
If I'm sitting at home and the TV is available and there's sport on, I will watch it.
Yeah.
Now, for the last 2 months, I haven't watched as much.
Okay.
Except for the initial couple of weeks when the baby isn't doing anything and you have nothing to do but if I'm feeding the baby and the TV is on,
that's true.
I might as well be watching the game.
Fair.
Why not? I don't think I've been, aside from last Friday night at the Radio Awards, I haven't been out once.
Fair enough.
Since the baby was born.
I mean, the baby's only like 6 weeks old.
2 months. My wife's been out twice. And it's going out again tonight. Keep it count. Not that I've been counting these things, but you know what I mean?
She deserves.
And also, like all of us, I'm sure, I'm encouraging, stay out as late as you want. Do not be coming home early. Stay out as... Don't be coming in at 11:30. You know, you stay out at 1:30 or 2. There's League One on tonight. Keith Andrews discovering something. I want to check in on this. You have it pretty good as well.
He only has one bleeding kid.
I have a good... It's all right, yeah. It's probably going to get a lot worse in 3 weeks' time, but that's not bad.
Is it 3 weeks? Yeah, that quick, right?
3 weeks, yeah.
How are the nerves?
They're grand. We haven't done one tap to prepare for this child.
But you have it all done from the first one,
Probably,
right?
yeah.
Like, you have the Moses basket and the cot eventually and the travel.
We're worried that the child is going to pull the existing child is going to pull the Moses basket over.
Oh, yeah, that's...
He would be that sort, I would think.
That's a live fear that you just have to live with.
Is it?
Yeah, like you can't. explain, don't do this. You can say it, but like...
And also I'm worried that, like, admonishing him for doing something, however severe, to the child...
Brings attention
to
it.
And also it's going to result in him going, well, like, furthers that sort of... Oh, what's this pile of crap? Like, I'm the guy in town here. This is...
Best description, a friend of mine, she said that, you know, when you're the only child, like, and the second child gets born, it's like a husband bringing a second wife to the house. That's the level of trust and joy you feel.
We're Mormons all of a sudden.
That's the level of trust and joy that the child one feels for child two. It's like,
you just have to trust your child. Like our middle child with
I don't trust him at all.
He has an aggressive way of showing love to everybody. So when he wants to give a hug, he runs from the other side of the room, rugby tackles you, squeezes you to death, and then wants to kiss you 50 times, and then is gone again.
Right.
And with the baby, it's grab her face, squeeze it. Aren't you cute? Aren't you cute? And I'm like, what do I do here? Like, I don't want to discourage him from...
I think you have to discourage and say...
Like, just leave her face alone. Leave her face alone. I was like, just give her a little
Because that's difficult, isn't it? Because then he probably has a feeling...
I don't know. You see...
here's me trying to show some love.
I'm trying to be positive and say he is trying to show some love. But also, maybe he's not. Maybe he's going... they think I'm showing love, but I'm also squeezing her face.
Disguising the affection as aggression.
It'll be his therapy bills anyway by the time he gets around to working out what the cause of it was is actually your fault.
Will we be sitting down as a group again before baby number 2 arrives?
We're going to try and do this weekly, right? We've literally recorded these over the last 4 weeks.
Another opportunity to impose our own failings and fears on Adrian.
I want to hear those.
Terrible his life is going to be.
Can it go anywhere? Can it go any time, or are you scheduled in?
No, we're into the sort of once a week scans now at this stage, and like it'll take whatever course it takes. But I mean, they say number 2 sort of slides on out the runway. Is that the to continue my airplane analogy here?
I don't think that's something at all.
I thought that was a.
You mean late?
No, early.
Oh,
as in the runway is ready for action.
I'd say everyone's experience is different, but ours was couldn't get there quickly enough.
Yeah,
we were very early. The second one, at I am Burger, and I am BUGER is how it's anyway. Buger. Military precision of school mornings, getting everybody out the door, work-life balance. Considering Nathan and Dave travel for commentary games, any effect on them being dads? Wifey travels a lot, and kids notice the days when she's not there.
No, not at all. Sure, I have it good. I have it great, so it's fine. My wife doesn't care less that I leave my house at 6 o'clock every Sunday morning and don't return for 18 hours and then go a bit tired when I get home. If you could do the feed again tonight, it's just fine. It goes down really, really well. Actually, it's only in the last 6 months or so, definitely my oldest lad has started, where are you every Sunday? And
right.
Why aren't you around today?
Oh my God.
And when you're going to bed on Saturday evening, I'll see you on Monday. But I have football tomorrow. Can you not come to this? Oh. You're like, ugh, watch the game. Now, he's just about moved past the part where he thought when I was going to a Liverpool match that I was playing for Liverpool. That realisation has finally clicked in, so it's not as exciting. Not as exciting for him anymore.
That means you on the bench today. I didn't see it.
I was like, I'm there. You can watch the match and we can talk about it tomorrow. But definitely, I think as they get a bit older, they obviously do notice that you're...
Yeah, mine aren't old enough to be there. Like, they do... They'll come into the bedroom in the morning and go, where is he? But I think that's about the height of it. And because, look, neither you or I have real jobs, as in, because you're working a weekend, you actually get to probably spend more time with them during the week than an awful lot of other dads who maybe have to do a 9 to 5 and drop a kids at childminder at 7:30 and don't pick them up till 6 or 6:30. Like, I will get to spend a decent chunk of time 6 days a week with them, which is amazing. But you're never there on a Sunday.
Yeah.
But they're just not old enough to know that I'm not around at the moment. But obviously, as you said, that'll change.
Well, I think that's it. So, like, I drop them to school every day, pick them up in school a couple of times a week. It's that when everybody else's dad is around is the time you're generally not around. Yeah. So they're noticing that. But I presume as they get older, they do realise, you go to work.
But the school run, I think... so I never did the school run because we're on air for 7:45 every morning, and you don't meet the other parents, you don't know any of the other kids' names. Like, they're coming home telling you about the kids in school, and like... With our eldest, we would have done the school and crash drop off, and so you would have known every kid. Whereas now, the middle child is telling me the people in her class. I'm like, Who is that? What did that explain who that person is again?
I'm now thinking that I should maybe open myself up a bit more. I do the crash drop off every morning. I don't know the name of any other son or any other parent.
McIntyre.
I'd be the same as you. Because my wife was working before this baby, but I would have known most of the mothers who would be collecting the children. So I would stop it now. I would arrange all the play dates and do the play dates and.
Ew.
No, come on.
I was just about to ask both of you if you felt guilty about it, but it now suddenly feels utterly inappropriate.
Guilty about what?
About the Frank at school, not knowing the level of detail.
Yeah, totally. It's of course you do.
Yeah,
No.
but I'd feel guilty about not being at my son's football training, but everybody misses something. You're doing a job where you miss this. Everybody's. There's loads of the fathers I have never seen
But my
around
last-
at school because they're working.
Yeah.
My last job here was no dinner with them ever. So now it's just no breakfast. And no breakfast is maybe a little bit better than no dinner. Don't know.
Neither of them are great.
No, they're not. They're not perfect. They're.
Can we pencil in for discussion in the podcasts to come the crying at the drop of a hat?
Is that you?
And I'm not talking about my kids. Because it's becoming a very real problem for me.
For you?
Yes.
Oh, really?
I was crying on the flight over to the Premier League game I was doing last week.
Can we press pause on this?
You look
now?
like you're about to cry now, actually.
Well, that's just,
We should pause on this. And
You're
come
having a
back.
reaction again.
tear
Yeah.
duct.
This is going to be a deeper conversation than we should.
Yeah.
Or not. Maybe now's the time to do it while he's here.
Well, we
Honest to
haven't.
God, it's becoming a serious problem.
Oh,
I'd
and-
say I was not very far away from the air steward coming down to me saying, "Sir, are you okay?"
And what was wrong with you?
I was watching Wonder on Netflix. Have you seen it?
No.
Oh my God!
Is it good?
It's a brilliant movie, but Jesus.
What's it about?
Get the bloody Kleenex ready.
All right.
So,
Not in your normal way. Hey-oh.
So, yeah, I knew you were going there.
I mean, come on, we all.
this is a podcast about fatherhood.
Yes.
Let's not destroy its integrity already.
Well, I think that's maybe more relevant.
Go on. So it was. So
I've noticed that since I became a father, my emotions are very close to the surface.
can you watch a horror movie anymore?
I never really was a fan of that before.
I was mad into horror movies. Now I cannot watch them. Can't watch any squeamish stuff. Can't watch any surgery on TV. Those medical. I'm like, oh, can't do that. Can't see any child having any difficulties.
Oh,
in the
no,
way.
see, that's the part.
All right.
It's based on a book. It's about a child that was born with a facial deformity, and having been homeschooled by his mother till the age of about 10, they've now made the decision to send him to middle school, which is at the stage they're at in the States, or I guess that's probably 5th or 6th class over here. And I was 60 seconds into it, and I was like, "Why is your face wet?" And I'm going, "Fuck! I'm crying here." So I was like, "You're grand. Good movie. Now on." And I'd say every 4 or 5 scenes, I could feel my eyes welling up.
Yeah, totally.
Wow.
And is it? Why are you crying?
Because it's so sad.
Right.
And you're looking, as you say, Jerry, you can't see other kids in distress, whether it's just a kid in the street or the news or a movie or you're reading about it in a book. It's just like...
And would you just not stop watching it? But I can't handle this. I'm crying too much. Or is there a therapy?
It's not cathartic in any way. It was a good movie. And
Draining.
I had an hour and a half of a flight. I did send a WhatsApp to a mate of mine who recommended the book / movie. I said, that is the most emotionally stressful movie I've ever watched. But it's not, this is it's happening regularly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
This happens regularly to me.
I think it's a combination of the fatigue and some other stuff. Mostly the fatigue is that you're so.
But are
strung
your
out.
empathy levels not heightened to a
I
massive
presume-
degree after you've had a kid?
Yeah.
I presume they are. It's it's part of the "don't kill your child" thing, that kicks in humans, where you're supposed to protect this as opposed to kill it, which would have been the natural Neanderthal reaction to new life taking my food. Going to probably at some stage have to put me out to pasture. That would have been how the precursors of humans responded to procreation. Look at this thing. This is a food source for me. Whereas now it's we actually like them.
Because prior to being a father, the only times I would ever have cried would be, say, for a bereavement, or if the team I had invested my entire life in lost a massive match. But now it's oh, we're 2 minutes into a movie. That's me gone. So
It was early in the morning, though, so I do think the tiredness is a massive factor in
It
it.
definitely exacerbates
But this
things.
is not an outlier. This is like
No, this is like
But he's
a
permanently
regular-
tired.
I'm not really. I have a 1 and a 4-year-old. I'm getting more than enough sleep. It's grand. But no, it's. I think it's just being a dad. You're just
Yeah.
your
I
sympathy
think
and
so, yeah.
compassion and empathy levels are of a far greater height than they used to be. I'd be interested to know if our listener fathers or indeed mothers, if they bother tuning into this podcast, have similar experiences. But I know from mates of mine, they blubber at the drop of a hat.
wow.
Yeah.
Do you ever do any collective blubbering?
I don't think I've ever cried together.
Yeah.
No.
Could be a thing. You know, like the man sheds. We could like start a group where we get people together and watch.
We all watch one
movies.
together.
Marley and me.
Marley and me, yeah.
Yeah, maybe
Or
we should do
Coco.
that.
Have you seen Coco?
That's what we should do for the
Coco's very
first
sad.
time we take this podcast out on the road.
An event.
The first Dadcast OB, if you
Feel
will.
free to cry.
We will have a screening of the film Wonder after we finish the recording of the podcast, and we can all sit around crying.
Collective blubbering.
Well, if we've achieved nothing else, we've at least got a good movie review from McIntyre.
Yeah,
today.
very good. Julia
Loads-
Roberts is in it.
Loads more questions and comments coming in. Was there? You sounded like you wanted to say one final thing.
No, I was going to say again, and this will probably get quite a bit of a reaction, and we can chat about it over a few weeks, which is people giving their opinions on what you should do with your child.
Bad advice.
Just all
Unasked
advice
for.
is bad advice.
I don't
Unasked
agree-
for. No,
I don't
this
fully
is
agree with
an
that, but I
incident.
get
So
your
last
point.
Monday, I had my child for the first time alone for a considerable period of time. That wasn't just
Your new baby.
so 7 weeks old. Like my wife's been out of the house and has been out, but I've always either had her in the buggy, bring her for a walk, or just in the house. So my wife was away for the day, so I had to bring my tux back into town. So I was like, I'll just bring the baby with me. But I had her for that like 11 to 5 period, so I also had to pick up the 2 kids in between as well. My wife was sort of sniggering, going, "You idiot. You're going to bring her to town and you're going to bring the 2 kids home. It's not a good idea." I was like, "It'll be fine. This is
so you
easy."
drive from.
So I drove from Farnham into town. She was asleep, was all fine, wandered around town, thought I'd get myself a coffee, all is good. Walked into the shop to get a coffee, the eyes open, starts crying. It's about 12:10. I have to pick the youngest lad up at 1. So I'm like,
Complication.
Traffic.
ooh.
How did that happen? I just lost an hour.
Well, no, I
having-
knew I'd be back. I knew I'd be back in half an hour, but I presumed she'd stay asleep the whole time. But now she started to cry and cry a bit more. That turned into a full-scale meltdown where she desperately needed to be fed.
Excuse me,
Whereas
sir. Is this your baby?
I didn't really have time.
Doesn't look
to
like you at
feed.
all.
Did you have a bottle?
I had a bottle, I had all that. So I decided I'm going to go back to a car park, give her a bit of a feed, give her half it, get in the car, give her the rest of the feed when we get to school. Walking down a laneway quite close to here, baby's going proper ape shit. Woman walks up to me. I'd say she's hungry.
You don't
Say you should go fuck yourself. Like seriously. You think she's hungry? What gave it away? Me. Can you imagine? Imagine me, a father of 3, going up to a young mother and going, "I'm very experienced with these children. I think she might be hungry." Piss off.
What age one was it?
I'd say in her 50s.
Right.
Mind your own business.
What did you say to her?
No shit.
Yeah, literally, I was like, "Yeah, I think so, yeah." And just kept walking at full speed. I did then end up in Drury Street car park in this terrible moment of trying to get the buggy, the baby, the bottle together as absolute meltdown. I think we're on the 8th floor. If you're on the 1st floor, you could have heard this meltdown. I'm sitting in the passenger seat with everything just strewn, taking up at least 3 parking spaces, half feeding the baby who's still going absolutely mental. And then I could only give her half the bottle because I had to leave to pick up the child. The meltdown continued to the extent where I'm like in traffic going, "Is she going to have a fit here?" Eventually, she just got to the stage where she fell asleep for about 3 hours, and when my wife got home, I said everything went just fine.
Poured the bottle down the sink.
I was like, it was easy. I don't know what you're giving
Yeah,
on about.
yeah.
Gloves have really come off
My
in this
God.
episode of the pod because I don't know how many F-bombs have been dropped, but I don't think we had any in the first 3. We've had about 25 here.
It's funny, on iTunes there's like this clean something version which I'd never seen before, which is like a rating system for
Oh no.
for stuff that doesn't need adult supervision, but I suspect we've just lost that rating anyway. Right, that is your lot this week. It is dadcast@offthewall.com, or you can just tweet any of the 4 of us. We do hope to be back before Adrian has his baby, but if we don't, best of luck.
Good
I'm
luck.
going to need all the luck in the world, lads.
We should be back next week. If you've got any comments for us, if you've got any topics you want covered, if you've got any stories for us, we're more than happy to pass them off as our own. Dadcast@offthewall.com. See you next week. Thanks for listening. Tell your friends.